Good evening. This is your Congressman Van Taylor calling to invite you to participate in a very important telephone town hall today to discuss coronavirus and answer your questions about the government's response. Tonight, I am joined by State Senator Angela Paxton, State Representative Matt Shaheen, and our Collin County Judge, Chris Hill, as well as medical experts from the Collin County Department of Public Health, who are here to answer your questions about the federal, state, and local government response to COVID-19. This is the sixth telephone town hall that I have hosted since the coronavirus outbreak. However, if you've never participated in one of these events, this is how they work. We are currently dialing 70,000 households throughout Collin County, and many more are calling in. Those who join the call can press *3 on their telephone keypad at any time to ask a question. You will temporarily be removed from the town hall event while a member of my team asks you for your name, your city, your question or comment, and then you'll be added back into the event. If for some reason you get disconnected, you can call back 855-731-4614, or you can go online to stream the event live, and that's vantaylor.house.gov/live, L-I-V-E. And for those of you that have a question, you'll be able to listen to the event until I am directly connected with you, and you'll be able to ask your question for all the listeners to hear. And that could be a question for State Senator Angela Paxton, State Representative Matt Shaheen, or our Collin County Judge, Chris Hill. So again, you can press *3 on your phone at any time, ask your question. An operator will take your information, we'll put you back on the telephone town hall, and we will get your question that way. Our lines are open right now, and if you're interested in asking a question, just hit *3 on your telephone keypad right now. Since our system is still calling thousands of Collin County residents, and it does take a few minutes for the phones to call 70,000 households, so you can join this live telephone town hall meeting. Again, this is Van Taylor, your U.S. Congressman. If you just joined us, welcome to this telephone town hall meeting. And so now we're going to get a few brief comments from Senator Paxton, Representative Shaheen, and our Collin County Judge, Chris Hill. And so now, Senator Angela Paxton, would you like to give a few minutes of comments?
Yes, and thank you, Congressman Taylor, for inviting me to be with you on this call. It's an honor to serve alongside you and so many great representatives, county officials, and two of them are also on this call, Representative Shaheen and County Judge Chris Hill. I think we have some really special folks in the county and in this Senate district, from my perspective, that are looking out for the best interests of our constituents. We've all walked together these last few weeks as we first made adjustment to lots of new health information, immediately kind of transitioned into the impact on employment as businesses were sometimes closing on their own, sometimes closing because they were deemed non-essential in the economy. And now we are sort of moving into a new phase, which is the economic recovery. And I'm sure most of the listeners are aware that Governor Abbott issued new orders on Monday directing the reopening of the Texas economy. Today is the last day of the stay-at-home order statewide, and tomorrow begins the phase 1 at a 25% occupancy level of a number of new business areas. Businesses are not required to open, but they are allowed to open, and to do so under the social distancing guidelines that we're all very familiar with. Many of our businesses are choosing to wait until they feel like they can be better prepared for their employees to be safe and for their customers to be safe. But I know that we're all looking forward to figuring out what normal looks like going forward. I know many people have questions about unemployment, and to that end, my staff has been trained by the Texas Workforce Commission to help and assist constituents on that. So if you've been having trouble maybe getting through to the Texas Workforce Commission, the load has been very, very heavy. Please call my office at 972-908-3424. Contact me by email, angela.paxton@senate.texas.gov. But I'm very encouraged by what I'm seeing as far as the flattening of the curve and the turn toward away from defense that we've been on so much, with the implemented testing that will be increasing going forward, and more attention on getting back to normal and phasing into economic recovery in Texas.
Thank you, Angela. Really appreciate you, and thank you for your comments. And if you have a question for Angela or for me, Van Taylor, your congressman, hit *3 on your phone right now, and operator will take your information and put you back into this live telephone town hall meeting. Next, we're going to get an update from our state representative, Matt Shaheen. Matt?
Congressman, thank you so much. I've done a couple of these with you so far, and looking forward to continue to do this. It's so important that we reach out to our constituents, and so we're looking forward to everybody's questions. Welcome, and just thank you for joining us. You know, we know that this remains just an unprecedented time. We know there's lots of concern, whether it's the concern around one's health or the economy. And so it's so important. This is so useful for us as legislators and elected officials to engage with you, and what a great tool this is. So I'm looking forward to hearing from you. I know there's lots of concerns. What I want to offer is, if you live in West Plano or North Dallas, I represent you. I'm your state representative. Again, if you're in West Plano or North Dallas, and you can reach me, my district phone number is 469-642-8708, and my capital office is 512-463-0594. If there's a concern, any kind of issue, questions around COVID-19 and how the state's responding to this crisis, either from a health perspective or economic perspective, we want to be here for you to answer your questions. And I'll just tell you that the state response has really been phenomenal. This is an unprecedented pandemic that we're dealing with. The globe hasn't really dealt with anything like this in over 100 years, and the Texas response has been really tremendous. And you know, Texas is one of the leaders in the response and really the recovery of the virus. And what you're seeing now is Texas is also a leader in the economic recovery as well. So you're not alone. We're going to get through this all together. There's 29 million strong Texans out there. We're all united in fighting this pandemic and getting back to normal as quickly as possible. And so with that, Congressman, again, thank you for allowing me to be a part of this and to engage with our constituents together. Thank you.
No, thank you, Representative Shaheen, and I just want to reiterate that all of us, myself, Senator Paxton, Representative Shaheen, are all big believers in being available to the people who we work for, and that's why we conduct town hall meetings like this, to bring thousands of the people who we work for to the table. And if you want to ask one of us, any of us, a question, hit *3 on your phone. We've got operators on the line who will answer, who will take your information down, and we will put you back in the telephone town hall so you can listen until we bring you on live to ask your question in front of thousands of your neighbors. And finally, we have our Collin County judge. So Judge Chris Hill has been the county judge here in Collin County. He is the Chief Executive Officer of the Collin County government, and as such, he is in charge of the Collin County Health Department, and he's got a couple of representatives there that he's going to introduce. Judge Hill?
Thank you, Congressman. I appreciate you bringing us together this evening, and thank you to everybody who's listening from home. I appreciate you joining us on this call and having this discussion with us. As Senator Paxton mentioned earlier in the call, tomorrow's a big day here in Texas as we turn the corner and we start to move towards phase 1 of of the recovery, of reopening our Texas economy and getting our families back to work. And I'll tell you, here in Collin County, we've been working towards that date, and we're working diligently to make sure that we're ready to respond and to keep our families safe, and hopefully to clear up confusion as to what the rules mean. We know there's a lot of changing information out there as we're working our way back to being open again, and we want to be a resource for everybody to give information, pass that along, but also, more importantly, through our public health department, through the doctors and the scientists that work here in Collin County, we want to be a resource for keeping the people of Collin County safe. So thank you again for bringing us together. And I'll tell you tonight, here with us on the call, we have one of our epidemiologists from our department. We have 10 epidemiologists, 10 of our scientists here in Collin County in our public health department. One of those is with us today. Grace Powers is here. So for those callers that have questions specifically about coronavirus or anything that would come from a public health standpoint, we can help answer those questions as well.
Thanks, Judge. Really appreciate it. And I just want to salute your professionals there at the Collin County Health Department. They have done a phenomenal job of putting together a contract trace system, really, which is one of the very best in the country. I know that you guys have created your own software to track people, to try to help when someone's infected, to try to help quarantine additional people, and I think it's just terrific. Your leadership at the county level, and I just want everybody to know that this is a whole of government approach to fighting this disease. So I'm here at the federal level. Representative Shaheen and Senator Paxton are working at the state level, the state of Texas level, and then Judge Hill is working at the county level, and we're all working toward the same goal, which is to defeat the coronavirus and to get everybody back to work. And it has been a tremendous amount of pain for all of us to get to this point. And then for those of you who are just joining this call, and there are a few people who are just joining, this is your Congressman Van Taylor. This is a live telephone town hall event where I, along with other elected officials, are going to be answering your questions about the coronavirus. And while we're waiting for people to submit their question, I just want to take a moment to just say thank you to each and every person who's on this call. I want to thank you for taking the time to learn about this, to understand this. I am grateful to you for the sacrifices you're making, and we are all making sacrifices. We're both making sacrifices in our personal lives by not being able to see our friends and family as much as we want, and we're making economic sacrifices. And so we have all been affected and impacted by this, every single one of us, and we are absolutely in this together, and we're going to win this together. And again, this is Van Taylor, your U.S. Congressman. This is a live telephone town hall event, and I have with me Senator Paxton, Representative Shaheen, the Collin County Judge Chris Hill, and we have experts in the Collin County Health Department. Our phone lines are open, and press *3 on your phone. So I'm going to answer the first question is actually for me, and this is Josh from Lavon has a question about nonprofit organizations. Josh, what is your question?
Yes, thank you, Congressman Taylor, Senator Paxton, Representative Shaheen, and Judge Hill for taking my call, and thank you all for y'all's hard work as well. Judge Hill, I want to thank you for your transparency with the numbers that y'all give us. It's great. But to my question is, I want to know, just looking at our nonprofit organizations, do we have a plan in place to supplement them? It seems like demand is not going to go away, and these guys are going to need some help. That's my question. Thank you.
Sure, Josh. Really appreciate that. And let me just quickly just say, our Collin County Judge Chris Hill puts out a daily email. Judge, you just want to quickly tell us how to get that email that's so helpful, that has all the data for what's going on in Collin County as far as coronavirus.
You bet. Thank you, Congressman, and thank you for that question. The email that goes out daily gives, first of all, statistics that come directly from our public health department every day. We want to make sure and get those out just as quickly as we can so that all of our citizens know what's going on in the county, but also so that our citizens understand that we're committed to transparency, that as we have those figures And as we learn about cases, both positive cases and negative tests, we get those out to the citizens every day. You can go to two sites to get that information. One is the Collin County website, collincountytx.gov, and we've got a dashboard there that shows you the statistics and shows you the cases by cities, lots of different ways you can look at it. And then I put that out as well on my personal website, which is chrishill.us, and you can see those same numbers, those same facts and figures, but in different charts and graphs. And if you'd like to, you can actually subscribe there, send your email in, or fill out the form, provide your email. We'll send you that report every day if you'd like to have it. And you can unsubscribe when you're tired of it. But that's just another way that we're getting information out to everybody every day.
Yeah, no, and I really thank you, Judge. You've been really transparent, as Josh mentioned. So, Josh, to the core of your question, which is around nonprofits, there is no question that the economic times that we're facing are very challenging. Over the last 30 days, almost 40,000 Collin County residents have applied for unemployment insurance, unemployment benefits. I personally was on a letter along with Senator Paxton and Representative Shaheen asking for the governor to make a grant to the North Texas Food Bank, which was granted. We're also want to salute Representative Shaheen and Senator Paxton for working to get the governor to get National Guardsmen to help the North Texas Food Bank to help feed hungry families. They have seen approximately a 400% increase in demand for their services, and so that's put a real strain on their ability to serve people in need here in our community. As far as helping nonprofits, I supported the payroll protection plan, and that the PPP, and those loans go to nonprofits. I have spoken to several nonprofit leaders that have received PPP funding, and nonprofits also qualify for the SBA's EIDL loan program. If you need help with either of those, feel free to reach out to my office or just hit *3 on your phone and just give me your information, and we can take that down, and we will endeavor to circle back to you. Reach out to my office anytime with any questions like these. But, Josh, thank you for your question, and thank you for serving in a nonprofit and helping. And if you have a question for myself or Judge Hill or Senator Paxton or Representative Shaheen, just hit *3 on your phone. This next question is a question for Senator Paxton. We have Matthew from McKinney. We have a question about stay-at-home orders. Matthew, are you in line?
Yeah, hold on 1 second. Thanks for taking my call. I have, I guess, a statement and a question. I assume that the order that the governor did earlier this week overrules all county orders. My question is, basically, if we end up having more flare-ups in the future, God forbid, will the counties be able to institute stay-at-home orders, or is it going to be all up to the state to decide?
Matthew, thanks for
Senator Paxton.
Yes, thanks for your question, Matthew. And you know, this is something that we all have to pay attention to. I think one of the things everyone's been getting used to is the issuance of these executive orders. And Judge Hill and I have had a number of conversations just to make sure that we're helping people understand, I guess, sort of the hierarchy of those. As you know, the governor has issued a number of executive orders, and counties and cities are also able to issue orders, but they cannot be in conflict with basically the tier above them. So a city can have different orders than a county, but they can't conflict. So to the extent that they might conflict, they would not be valid. A city would not be able to issue orders that conflict with the county, and that's also true then for the county with the state. And so no doubt, if we do have a flare-up, and I agree with you, God forbid, I would not be surprised to see executive orders start coming out. And, you know, I also would expect to some extent, the governor has taken, and you remember this early on, the governor took a fairly regional approach to the initial stages of the virus and dealing with it in the state of Texas. So I would expect that those would be dealt with, if possible, at a more local level, at a more regional level, and dealt with at the state level only to the extent that they were necessary. I hope that helps answer your question.
Senator Paxton, thank you. And actually, Matthew, since we already have Judge Hill on the line, I'm just going to quickly see if he wants to follow up and just give any, maybe give us a little inside peek on what he thinks in terms of how he might respond differently and under what circumstances, given what Governor Abbott's already done. Judge?
You bet. Thanks, Congressman. I think that was a great answer by Senator Paxton, and we're waiting to see how it progresses from a statewide level. And I think the governor addressed the fact that you've got a wide disparity across the state of Texas in urban areas and rural areas and suburban areas like Collin County, and they don't always. It doesn't work to always have the same strategy for all. So we look to the governor's office to tell us what he plans to do and how much guidance he plans to give directly, and how much flexibility he plans to allow us to have. And so that's been part of our process. When we announced the Collin County Economic Recovery Task Force several weeks back, we didn't yet know how we were going to do that, if it was going to be done at the local level or orchestrated from Austin. So we wanted to be ready regardless. And now that we know the governor's going to go ahead and try his phased approach, we're going to go ahead and absolutely work with them to carry out that approach. But if in time he throws it back to the local governments and says, okay, now we need you to finish the process, we will be ready. We're prepared. We're talking to our experts. First and foremost, our doctors and scientists in the public health department and public health departments across the county, hospital departments, but then also to our business leaders who tell us how they could actually run safely their businesses. And so we're ready regardless of what the governor decides to do, and we'll continue to partner with him.
Great. Thank you very much, Judge. And don't put on mute too fast, because we have a question for you, Judge Hill. Our next question is Jody from Plano. Jody?
Hi there. Yes.
Yeah, what is your question?
Our question is that we know the governor has closed gyms such as Lifetime, but we run a 40,000 square foot volleyball facility, and it has 7 courts in it. Our occupancy is 600. Is it possible for us to be allowing individuals to be working with our coaches like one-on-one on 7 courts, to where we have maybe 10 or 15 people in our facility so that our coaches can be making some sort of income?
So here in the county, that's a tricky one. We've seen two bits of guidance from the governor's office specifically, I think, that apply. First, he's told us clearly that gyms are not to open back up, but you mentioned yours is a little bit different paradigm. And then second, he said that outdoor sports, if you had 4 participants or less, you could participate in outdoor sports. So if I were really trying to parse that down and figure out a scenario that works for you, if a coach and a player were to go outside and play volleyball together, it seems like it would be allowed. If you were inside, it seems to be a question. And so those are the tricky ones that to be real fair here, and I want to be careful, we don't try to interpret the governor's orders in the empty spaces between the lines here at the county, but we recognize that, and I'm sure the governor's office knows this too, that when you start to get to the process of making a list, it's very difficult to catch every paradigm that's out there and every scenario. So that's, you can tell I'm wrestling with it right now, because I recognize how much of a non-answer that is, and I'm apologetic for that. But honestly, we're going to have to look to the governor's office to tell us what his intentions are in those spaces between the clear orders.
Senator Paxton,
right.
do you want to take a stab at Jody's question? Sorry about my dog.
Let me see if I can give just as good a non-answer as Judge Hill. No, I'm teasing you, Judge Hill. Now, I think part of what happened almost immediately when the governor issued the orders on Monday. Of course, everyone's looking for, well, what does that mean for my business? And so, it's something that we're going to have to flesh out. You may have heard almost immediately there was a county judge in one county, I believe Montgomery County, that said all of my businesses are open 100% in this county. And there actually was a particular reading of the orders that it was possible to kind of read it that way. And the governor responded by saying, we're going to go back in and massage these things and kind of fill in the gray areas. And, I have 4 children. I know whenever I made a rule, all of a sudden, even just trying to get something to fit 4 kids was a challenging thing, right? There are always differences in the way something needs to be applied. To that point, though, that is the intention, is that these things that don't quite fit are being brought to the surface. And one of the things I know that I'll be doing tomorrow, I'm going to be on a call with a number of legislators and the governor, and we're going to be asking questions about, so under the orders, what about this? What about this? And I think really you just have to start somewhere, make the best sort of template that you can, and then work to fit things so that they match the intent. Sometimes you end up with unintended consequences. One of the things I heard about from some businesses, restaurants in particular, as we all know, tomorrow is the day that many businesses can open at a 25% capacity. I know some restaurant owners who are not going to be opening because they've just said, we can't quite be ready that fast. Of course, no one's required to be open, but I know other restaurant owners who have said, actually, at that limited number, at 25%, it costs me more to be open than it would for me to remain closed. And so they're going to remain closed at that level. So that's creating kind of this reverse market influence. And that obviously is an unintended consequence. No one wants a situation where it costs more to be open under the order. So these are the things that it matters to hear from folks. And I appreciate your comment and your call, because this is how we know where the gaps are, and we can talk with our colleagues, we can work with the governor's office. Everyone is working for the same thing, which is to safely get Texas working as fast as possible.
Great answer. Thank you, Senator. Our next question is for Representative Shaheen. Jacqueline in Murphy has a question about an issue she's having contacting the Texas Workforce Commission. Jacqueline?
Yes. I was calling in. Hello?
Hi, Jacqueline. This is
Yes,
Representative Shaheen. Yeah, looking forward to your question.
Yeah, my question is, my daughter worked for Hilton, and she moved to Virginia. Hilton furloughed her, and she's been trying to call into a Texas workforce because she had to file here since she got furloughed. Well, she's been calling and can't get in, and the question she had is Hilton is giving them or paying them like, I think, $120 that they're supposed to use that to pay their insurance so that their insurance, won't run out, so they can still keep up with their insurance. And she's been trying to figure out, how does she have to put that on her unemployment, or where does she put it, or how, because there's no place to put that. And even though she's not getting it as a salary, but they're giving it to them to pay, they have to go back in the system and pay their insurance. And
yeah,
so,
Jacqueline, thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
So I left her name and number, and I was hoping that somebody would call her back and explain that to her, because she's in that window that she has to, file every week or whatever. And that's the only thing she needs to do, and she's done everything else online in order to get her unemployment money. And so that's really.
She's a Texas resident?
Yeah, she lived here until January, and then she went up there in January to start working.
Okay, my understanding is that she would have to report that, but at such a small amount that wouldn't have a negative consequence. So in other words, you can still qualify for unemployment, even if your salary has been reduced, let's say. But Jacqueline, what I can do is I'm going to give you my email address, and if you'll take that down and give it to your daughter, and if she'll send me an email with that specific question, we'll help her out. But she'll still qualify even if she's getting, that supplemental funding from Hilton, so she can pay for her or help pay for her health insurance. So my email is Matt with 2 T's .Shaheen, and that's SHAHEEN at house.texas.gov. So if you'll give her that email, or if there's anybody that's listening that also has a question about unemployment, I know quite frankly that, and I've talked to, it feels like hundreds of constituents that just can't get through the Texas Workforce Commission, either their website, or they're having some kind of challenges, or they can't get through the call center. My staff and I were here for you, so you can also email me with any questions, or if you just need general help in that area. But Jacqueline, if you'll give your daughter that email address, we can follow up with her, but she will still qualify for unemployment.
Great, thank you. And I will just say that actually Representative Shaheen and I did a webinar that you can view on my website, vantaylor.house.gov, and it's a 1-hour explanation. We have the head of the Texas Workforce Commission explain a lot of the basics of unemployment. Just so everybody here is aware, Representative Shaheen, myself, Congressman Van Taylor, and Senator Paxton, all of our offices are helping people with unemployment benefits. Although this isn't technically a federal program, there's a lot of needs, so my office has helped to step in, and Representative Shaheen's been really great, so that's why he was on that webinar. And so if you have basic questions, and we literally have had people from around Texas go on and watch that webinar. It was for the people of Collin County, but anybody can obviously see it. It's the internet. But if you just go to vantaylor.house.gov/workers, you can see that webinar. You can also sign up for updates that may come out about unemployment benefits as they change. I do want to point out that a lot of these programs are changing as we go along, and so every day there's a little bit of new guidance on this, that, or the other. If you go to vantaylor.house.gov/workers, you can get updates regarding to people who are employees who are workers. And so if that's you, go get that update, and we would love to help you. Our next question, and we are having people submit questions both by phone, so hit *3 if you want to ask a question. You haven't heard your question asked yet, you want to ask a question. But we have some people that are asking their questions online. So this is an online question for our medical experts. We are so lucky to have so many phenomenal healthcare professionals in Collin County, and we have several of those healthcare professionals working for our county government, and they are doing a great job there in terms of the contract trace system they put together and really helping us to coordinate our numbers and have a good sense of what's going on the ground. And so the questions are, will a homemade mask work? And the second question is, should I wear gloves to the grocery store? So those are the two questions. Will homemade masks work? And the second question is, should I wear gloves to the grocery store? I'm sure we all want to know if we should wear gloves to the grocery store and whether a homemade mask works. And I think Grace Powers is with us. So Grace?
Yes, hi. Those are two great questions that we've been getting a lot. Homemade masks, the CDC does have guidance on their website that homemade masks are sufficient to wear. We've actually been wearing them ourselves in the office when we have people less than 6 feet apart. They've actually become a good fashion statement. As for gloves, that is an interesting question as well. So the point of gloves is to prevent cross-contamination. So if you're going to the grocery store and you're touching the cart, then you're touching the pasta, then you're touching the apples, they're really not doing any good. The best thing that you can do is wash your hands, don't touch your face, practice good social distancing, but gloves typically aren't very helpful in community settings like that.
Great. Thank you, Grace. We really appreciate it. And just want a big shout out and a thank you to all the professionals that you have, epidemiologists that are there at the Collin County Health Department that are helping to keep us safe and to help us win this battle. Next, we have a question for Senator Paxton. And this question is about what business is considered an essential business. Todd in Frisco. Todd?
Hello. Hi there.
Yeah, Todd.
Okay, so I'm a franchisee with a large haircutting chain, and I had to lay off in March almost 200 state licensed professionals. I'm getting destroyed financially, and I was very encouraged to hear our governor promise that hair salons would be open during the first 2 days of May. And then I was shocked that he reversed course this past Monday. So my question is, what happened? Why did he do that? Why is he picking winners and losers in the first place? And how do I get on the good list?
We all want to be on the good list. Well, I can tell you this, Todd, you are not alone in being frustrated about that particular segment of the economy not being open. It's a difficult thing for not only consumers and customers, but as you're saying, it's very difficult for so many employees, folks that do this for a living. I'll be honest with you, there was someone I heard the other day, and they said they're pushing these things underground. There's going to be like a speakeasy salon system, before long, as people are trying to figure out a way to get their hair cut and that sort of thing. The governor has said that he is looking at potentially doing that in the middle of May in phase 2. I know that several other legislators, myself included, are urging the governor to take another look at that, to reconsider that. These are important businesses. We have folks that are, dealing with food that we eat and ingest, and we have ways to deal with that. We have dentists that, are touching your face, touching your mouth. We have ways to deal with that. And it does seem like that the salons are willing to go above and beyond to really try to make sure that they make their customers feel safe. And, the other part of this question really is this as well. People are only going to go back to work and only going to go back into the economy, re-engage in the marketplace to the extent that they feel safe. And so I think, without the government directing certain kinds of things, as I said earlier, there are restaurants that are not opening, even though they have the ability, permission to be open, because they don't feel like they're ready, because they don't feel like it's cost effective for them, because they feel like they aren't quite where they need to be to meet the needs of their customers and employees. And I think there is a natural selection that kind of happens. No one is going to be forced to go get their hair cut, and no employee is going to be forced to cut hair if they don't feel safe. And I think it really is a situation where I am very hopeful that the governor will be open to this cry across the state for this really important segment of our economy, and allow those businesses to meet the needs of their customers by proving that they're doing things in a safe way. And it would only be with customers who are willing to engage with that to start with. So thank you for your question.
Thank you, Senator Paxton. Really appreciate that, and unquestionably, these are difficult times. I will just say that for business leaders out there like Todd, these are the most challenging business times we've ever seen, and these are incredibly difficult decisions we're making. And I think all of us certainly feel like we're a cork in the ocean being bobbed around. But let me just say this: I think Collin County is in a good place to get to recover quickly. Next question is a question actually for me. This is Mohammed in Plano. Mohammed, you have a question about the payroll protection plan. Mohammed, are you online?
Yes, Congressman Taylor. This is Mohammed Kasim, formerly with
Mohammed,
Capital One.
Call me Van.
Call me
Van.
You
know that.
So first of all, I actually want to highlight and recognize Van, your staff, and specifically Maggie. I've had a personal issue where my family's been overseas, and the amount of effort and the way that your staff has been helping me out with the repatriation efforts, I just can't thank enough. I think that just speaks volumes to all of the staff that is actually on all of our public offices, teams that they're on the front lines. And so a lot of thanks and kudos to the team for being there for the community. It's been a very tough time for all of us. So
thanks, Mohammed. I'll just say we have helped get almost 50 Collin County citizens get home from literally around the world, from Morocco, from Peru, from Europe, from India. I think we had someone get in from Pakistan this morning. So we have helped lots of families get home, and it's a pretty panic phone call when a husband can't, wants to find, get his wife or get their children or what have you. So helping families reunite, repatriating Americans has been something that we're focused on. It's an important service from my office, and so. Mohammed, just thank you for that ringing endorsement, and just for anybody who has that situation, or if you've heard of somebody that has that situation. And we have had people, hey, I saw it on Facebook, man, can you help this person? We've reached out and gone and helped them. So appreciate that. But anyway, on your question.
Yes. So actually, probably more suited for Judge Hill, and we'll love to see others chime in as well. But we've been discussing with our small business here on the development front that, we got access to some masks that we wanted to see where we can donate. Obviously, I think that hopefully now our healthcare systems are got probably enough good capacity to have these protection equipment. But a lot of questions were coming in, especially as we also have some other small businesses, that is there any way or any thought being done in terms of there's going to be a supply chain issue where small businesses or other areas which don't have access to these equipment, where can they easily get these equipments for their workers and staff to be able to do so? I don't know if there's any guidance or any public information that's provided so that every time I go to a pharmacy, I'm not going to get a mask. So where do I get one for my staff?
Great question. Absolutely, that's a great question. And just to underscore that, we did not allow elective procedures in Texas for almost 5 weeks. We began elective procedures last week because we finally felt as a state that we had enough personal protective equipment for our medical personnel, and so that we could start affording to burn the kind of PPE, the personal protective equipment that is burned when you start having elective procedures. But I believe the Collin County Health Department might have some guidance on where local businesses who are looking to protect their employees and their customers by having a face mask, a face shield, maybe a sneeze guard. Grace Powers from the Collin County Medical Department, do you want to give us some guidance on where businesses can source PPE?
Sure. So we're hoping that PPE, face masks, things like that will be on the shelves at retail stores soon. But in the meantime, the CDC, once again on their website, does have step-by-step guides on how to make masks out of old T-shirts, things you have lying around the house to make them effective. You don't have to have a sewing machine. They have no-sew methods. Also, I would reach out to friends and family. There are more people making masks than you think. So I think with a little research, you should be able to get that covered.
Thank you. Really appreciate that. That just goes back to the homemade mask question earlier. So, Judge Hill, I've got a question. We've got a question for you. Our next question is a gym owner in McKinney. And Christy, are you on the line?
Hello.
Yeah, Christy. So, what is your question for Judge Hill?
So I think it's going to be similar to like Jody's in Plano. So we own a private personal training studio, and so we know as well, like we cannot reopen our facility, but like many others, we're taking a huge financial hit not being able to do that. But with the ordinance to allow outdoor training, are paid trainers allowed to train outdoors, or can they still not do that?
Yeah, Christy, that's a great question. It does follow along with the question earlier. And again, I don't know precisely the right answer, but I look to what the governor has said so far for guidance. And given that he has said that four or fewer people can participate in outdoor sports, then that I would look to that as the guidance. If you had a trainer and an athlete that were outdoors and they were working on their skills, then I would think that would work. You would know better in each of the different types of activities, types of sports, types of training, whether that is something they can do with 6 feet of distance between them or whether they have to do it close. That's going to be different for different scenarios, but like a tennis coach and a tennis student, if they were playing tennis together, I don't see why that wouldn't be allowable. And again, I wouldn't want to try to speak for the governor's office, but I think in some of these cases we're going to have to use common sense and try to come to a conclusion based on the guidance we've been given. And certainly if you were to do that in a good faith way, here at the county, we're not going to look to penalize those that try to find their way through that. So I hope that helps.
It does.
Thanks,
and then just to add a comment to Senator Paxton, like we are by appointment only, so knowing that we can control the clients that come in and screen them thoroughly, I think would be something that you could present when you talk to the governor as well.
Thank you, Christy. I think that one of the things that I have encouraged people to do as they are thinking about, can we do this, can we not do this, is to think proactively about what they know about their customer base. There really are two parts to this. There's, we're all kind of thinking about, will this be allowed if we do it like this? But in some ways, a broader question is, what are my customers going to need in order to feel safe and comfortable? And that's a very personal sort of decision for people. Some people are more risk averse or less risk averse, whatever, based on their personalities. But some people just have different conditions, health conditions themselves, perhaps a family member. They might care for an elderly member in their family or have someone like that at home. Families are going, and individuals know what they're looking for, and this is one of the things that I think the reality is. This is what will really guide the rollout of reopening the economy in Texas, in Collin County, is the extent to which our business owners are able to assess and determine what customers need in order to feel safe coming back. And I would also just encourage you, Christy and Jody, if you're still on the call, would you give my office a call tomorrow, 972-908-3424? We would love to kind of help you walk through your specific situation, which has its own little nuances. But I agree with Judge Hill. This is something where clearly you're making a strong, good faith effort to meet the needs of your clients, to keep your business running. And it's hard to imagine, that certainly isn't going to be frowned on by the county. And I think you're demonstrating great citizenship and great care for your neighbor and great care for your customers and employees in the way you're doing this.
Thanks, Senator Paxton. Appreciate that. And this is just one of the benefits, I think, of having people at the county, state, federal level on the phone, is that you can get different perspectives. And I certainly hope anybody would take advantage of Senator Paxton's offer to try and get specific answers for specific questions in terms of what's going to open up tomorrow. I know that a lot of people's economic futures depend on getting answers to those questions. So, Senator, I really appreciate you stepping up to answer that. For those of you who are on this call that have enjoyed it, and if you've been on for almost an hour now, I would think that you probably have enjoyed it, and you want to get a phone call about the next one, just hit 1 on your phone right now. If you just hit the number 1 on your phone, we'll know to reach out to you for the next telephone town hall event. The machine can only call 70,000 people. And so we can't, my district is 750,000 people, so we can't call every number every time. But if you hit 1 right now, just all you got to do is hit the phone number 1 on your phone. We will be sure to call you and let you know about them. Doesn't mean you have to do it, but it just means you get the opportunity. You get to be kind of first in line if you want to be on the next telephone town hall meeting. And now we have our final question of the evening. It's actually a question for me. It's a question that's been coming into my office an awful lot over the last week and a half. Charles from McKinney, you have a question about the economic impact payment.
Yes, I'm Charles, and
yep, Charles, go ahead.
I have a question about the stimulus check that the government's supposed to send me. I don't know if you have anyone there to answer, to give me some answers, but we haven't received ours, and it's been about 3-4 weeks now past. Can you help me with that?
Absolutely. So approximately 60% of the economic impact payments went out last week electronically. If you want to track it and find out about it, I recommend you go to irs.gov and click on the Get My Payment button. So you click on the Get My Payment button. If you enter your information, and if you qualify, it'll tell you date, amount, or if they need more information. They may not have enough information to send you a check. And if you're having any kind of problem with that, Charles, please, by all means, reach out to my office. We will we can email you a little bit more information about it. And if necessary, we'll sit down and go and help you go over it over the phone. The office, the number should be the number on your caller ID. For my office here in Plano, Texas, and that number is 972-202-4150. Call with any question you may have. We are very focused morning, noon, and night. We are calling people. We're emailing them. We're constantly updating our website to reflect the latest and best information about all these different federal programs that are designed to help our community survive from a health point of view, and then economically through what is unquestionably one of the most difficult challenges of our time. At this time, I'd like to ask our elected officials just to give a minute of remarks in closing. Senator Paxton.
Well, I just want to thank you again, Congressman, for the opportunity to be on the call and to engage with these folks who have cared enough to take time to listen, but also have given and entrusted their questions with us. We want to help. My name is Texas Senator Angela Paxton. I hope you'll call my office if there's anything that we didn't get to on the call that we can help you with. 972-908-3424. We're located in Allen. My email, angela.paxton@senate.texas.gov. My motto as your senator is listen, learn, lead. And this has been incredibly beneficial for me to hear the questions as I'm going to take those and other things that I come across as I just work with people, listen to people. That's how I can best represent you. I was a teacher for 20 years, and I know learning starts with listening, and the best kind of leadership comes from learning. What did my constituents need? I'm looking forward to hopefully hearing from Jody and Christy tomorrow. I know we're all looking forward to getting our hair cut again, to going back to the gym and getting life back to normal. And we're also looking forward to taking care of those who are most vulnerable among us right now, those in our nursing homes, those who are over 65 with compromised immune systems. We are all doing our part. I know I'm so proud of my colleagues, but thank you all. People of Senator, I'm sorry, he was my senator, Congressman Taylor's district here, Congressional District 3, for doing your part to flatten the curve so we can get back to normal. It'll be a new normal, but we're Texans and we'll do it, and we'll do it well.
Thanks. Great comments. Appreciate that very much. Representative Matt Shaheen. Matt, do you want to give us just a quick 1-minute closing?
Yeah, Congressman. Just thanks to everybody for participating. I mean, I can't tell you. Hopefully, this is helpful to you. It's very helpful to me and really all of us. It's important that we hear from you. I've probably done well over a dozen of these, and we'll continue to do. We do Facebook Lives, we do Zoom webinars, we do these teletown halls. We'll continue to engage with you. This way we can respond to you in a much more effective manner. I will say I think one of the themes that I've heard tonight is especially our business owners. And I want to make sure you understand, we think you all are essential, because you are. No matter what kind of tower that you were put in, you're all essential. The state of Texas, one of the reasons why we're such an economic success is because of our small businesses. You create and provide the mass majority of our jobs in our state. And so I just want you to know we are advocating for you, and I hope you don't feel that you're alone, because you're not alone. We are advocating for you. We're on working calls with the governor, with the Department of Emergency Management, with the county. We're constantly engaged to fight this and fight this together. So I just want to make sure that you hear that we're very sensitive to what you're going through. This is incredibly hard. I've talked to many of you personally. I talk to business owners, quite frankly, every day, and I know this is tough, but we're going to get through this. Texas is actually one of the first states to open up in the manner that we are. And quite frankly, we're able to do that because of the response by each of you on this phone, and really Texans across the state of Texas, that we've taken the necessary steps to respond to this virus. So we're here for you. Let me just give you my email just one more time. If there's something, my district is West Plano and North Dallas. If I can help you with anything, really. Again, my email is matt.shaheen, SHAHEEN, @house.texas.gov. So God bless each and every one of you, and please continue to engage with us. Pray for our state, pray for our nation, and we're going to get through this. Thank you, Congressman.
Thank you, Representative Matt Shaheen. Really appreciate you and your leadership in these trying times. And finally, Collin County Judge Chris Hill. Chris, do you want to give us a 1-minute closing remark?
Thank you, Congressman. I appreciate it again, you bringing us together tonight. And for all of our Collin County constituents who are joining us tonight, I appreciate you taking time to be here. And the questions you asked tonight are similar to the questions that we get by email and by phone in the office. And what we know most of all is that our families right now are trying to get their families back on their feet and get back to work so that they can continue to provide for those essential services they need, food and shelter and medicine for their families. And we hear those day in and day out, and that's why we are working hard to try to navigate with the governor and his orders how we can help you get back to running your businesses and back to your jobs and back to life before we all knew what COVID-19 was. Thank you, Congressman.
I appreciate it. I just want to say that Collin County is a very healthy county to a slightly younger county. And so if you look at the trajectory of cases in Collin County, we have a much flatter trajectory than other counties and states. And so I believe that Collin County is poised to recover faster and to lead the recovery for the state of Texas. And I think it's in no small part due to the hard work of the elected officials, but more importantly, it's due to the hard work of the people that are listening here right now. I want to thank you for your engagement. I want to thank you for your sacrifices that you're making. You're making familial sacrifices. We're foregoing the opportunity to worship together. We're foregoing the opportunity to go to the gym, to get our hair cut. There are so many sacrifices that we are making, and the economic sacrifices that so many of us are making that we feel every day. And these sacrifices, I think, are ultimately going to be worth it because we are going to beat COVID-19. We are going to get life back to normal, and I think that Collin County is going to lead America in a recovery. And I have every reason to believe that, and I just want to thank every single person for taking the time to be on this call tonight. And I just want you to know again, my office is ready and able to help in a whole variety of issues. And if you did not get your question asked tonight, I am sorry about that. If you stay on the line after I hang up, you can leave a voicemail, and we will get back to you. And so thank you so much for taking the time to be on here. This is really important, and we're happy to help you with any. Let us know. We want it. If we can't help, we will, and we will get back to you. So with that, thank you. Good night, and God bless.